You're right. You win. Why put that on radio? No. OMG. Please. Finally, everything was done by Sigma Twins. How do you subtract decimals? Who is Mr. Krabs? Run by me.
This is how we subtract decimals. First of all, before we subtract decimals, we should know a little bit about what they mean. So if we have a typical number like 43.2798, we should know the 4 is in the tens place, the 3 is in the ones place, the 2 is in the tenths place, then the hundredths place, then the thousandths place, then the 10,000ths place. To subtract decimals, or to add them for that matter, you have to make sure that you're adding and subtracting things that are alike. So if you have to line up the numbers, for instance, that are in the tenths place, so that you're adding tenths to tenths or subtracting tenths from tenths, and so on for all of the places there. Now you need also to know that all subtraction should be done vertically. Even though the problem may be presented to you horizontally, and you may be tempted to do it horizontally, you should set it up vertically. All addition and subtraction should be done vertically. This will ensure that you will do it successfully. You also need to know that if a number has no decimal point, that you will find it at the end, just like the period at the end of a sentence. So let's try a typical example. Say we have 14 minus 3.2. Well, the 3 is in the ones place, and so isn't the 4. So those numbers have to be lined up. The first number goes on top, so we have 14. Then we're going to subtract 3.2. Now, we need to then put in this decimal point, because if a number has no decimal point, we find it at the end. So let's do that, and we'll do that in a different color just to illustrate it. So here's our decimal point. With subtraction, it is mandatory, absolutely necessary, that you put in the 0. You must annex the 0, because now when you subtract, you're really taking 2 from 10, and we're going to borrow when we subtract. You can't just drop the 2 down here, because you're subtracting 2. If there were no decimal point, it'd be 32 from 140. So basically, we're subtracting 32 from 140, but putting the decimal point there. We do it the same exact way as whole numbers, and don't let the decimal point get in your way. So 2 from 10 is 8. I borrowed 1 from 4 to make it 3 to do that. Then 3 from 3, of course, is nothing. And then nothing from 1 is 1. So 14 minus 3.2 is 10.8. We're 10 and 8 tenths. If that were money, that would be $14 minus $3.20. And you'd have $10.80 for change. Let's try another example. So here's another typical example. We have 17.98 minus 0.3. So we take and write it down. The first number goes on top. We're going to subtract. Now this 3 is in the tenths place. We have to put it under the 9 so that it will be in the same value column there. And then we can go ahead and subtract. Now in this case, there's really a 0 here. You don't really need to put it in there. You can put it in if you feel like it, but you're still taking nothing from 8. In this case, the 8 does drop down. Then 3 from 9 is 6. Of course, the decimal point has to be right there. And then nothing from 7 is 7, and nothing from 1 is 1. So 17.98 minus 0.3 is 17.68. So if this were money, if that was $17.98, and you were subtracting 30 cents, you would have $17.68. Let's try another typical example. So here's another typical example. We have 6.2 minus 3.48. Now we must line up the decimal points, which automatically takes and lines up all the other numbers that are in the correct place value columns. The 4 is in the 10th place, the 2 is in the 10th place, so they have to line up in the same place. Lining up the decimal point accomplishes that objective. Now here, we have to take 8 from something, so we must annex the 0. We can't just simply drop the 8 down. So now we're going to go 8, well, I borrow 1 from 2 and make it 1, so 8 from 10 is 2. I can't take 4 from 1, so 1 from 6 is 5. So now I have 4 from 11 is 7. Drop the decimal point down. 3 from 5 is 2. So 6.2 minus 3.48 is 2.72. If this were money, you'd have $6.20 minus $3.48 would be $2.72. Now with subtraction, it always pays to add it back up again to check your work. It really is one of the times that you really should check your work every single time with a subtraction example. So we add it back up. 2 plus 8 is 10. 7 and 1 is 8, and 4 is 12. 2 and 1 is 3, and 3 is 6. So it checked, so we've done it correctly. This is how we subtract decimals. Happy computing.